the idea of a 1-year no-cost extension.
So the key areas that we want to focus on is substation operations. This is not just going to be for DT Energy. This will also help other areas of the industry, such as consumers. This will also be a pipeline for them. Gas maintenance distribution, we have overhead line work, we have underground splicing work, electric field operations. We also have an area called cable testers. Yes?
Can I ask you to move to the microphone,
Yep.
please?
Yep, I'm sorry. Okay. We have underground line work, electric field operations. Then we also have a program that's the Electrical Engineer Associate degree. This is for cable testers at DT Energy. It's a very hard position to fill. And so having this partnership with Henry Ford, having a pipeline right here with someone coming out with the associate degree that's going to be focused on what we actually need, it also is a true benefit for the construction group. Then we also have construction as part of our, what we call, skilled trades pipeline. So here is a picture. This is a visual that we've been using over the last many months. And we've got this program now called Power and Trades Pathway. And it took us a little while for us to try to decide what is that right word in the industry that we want to use that's going to attract not only middle school, high school, and adults. So we wanted to say, what can we do? We know that the industry is going to have more than a 50% dropout rate of people retiring. You know, they're going to trid out or they're going to go into different type of jobs. So having that be known, knowing that apprenticeships require anywhere from 3 to 5 years to complete to get to a journeyman level, we have to attract the people now, meaning in middle school and high school. So we felt that if we went with a program such as this, and this was a pre-apprenticeship program, which is a stackable credential program, allowing a student to come in through that core in that trunk of that tree, learn 2 semesters of training, and then pick their path. When they pick their path, then they have a semester of job-specific training. Now they've learned hands-on training, they've got exposure, and they're ready to say, do I really want to climb that pole, or do I not? Do I want to go in that manhole? Oh, I'm claustrophobic. Or do they want to work with their hands? So it gives us that full opportunity to give them that exposure. And by doing this, though, we're also taking the opportunity to expose the middle school and high school students. When we built this first cohort group that we have right now today, that cohort group came from an at-risk population in Detroit. We went targeted Cody High School. We said we want to go to an area that needs the most need so we can understand every single barrier and work through that barrier. And that's been the great benefit here at Henry Ford, is that we've been able to really have this ideal partnership and work through what those financial pictures look like. We've had grants at DTE that help fund part of this program. We had the students make sure that they filed for their FAFSA dollars, so there was no cost to them. So we could say, let's help you along, let's figure out what do we need. Whoa, they needed math. They didn't even have the math to get into the Henry Ford. So we had to close those gaps. So that's what this program is. This is a bridge, if I may, for people to get into a pre-apprenticeship program to get themselves just as competitive with other people that have the same talent to be an apprentice.
Okay, so the 2 main goals of this grant are to close the academic gap for at-risk students who are pursuing a career in the skilled trades, and also provide the hands-on learning to give them exposure and really understand the physical aspects and qualifications for each of these job roles. So in order to do this, we are developing refresher seminars to improve students' standardized test taking, occupational awareness, and foundational learning skills. And so this is to ensure that students aren't just successful in completing their courses, but also in obtaining entry-level employment or an apprenticeship. We're also creating foundation courses that'll be our new Power and Trades Pathways Core Certificate program. So that was the trunk of the tree that we showed earlier, the Level 1 certificate. And also developing hands-on learning modules and lab simulations for each of the job roles. We have created the Power and Trades Pathways Core Certificate. It's been passed through our college's approval system. It's been approved by the Higher Learning Commission. It's 24 credit hours long, so ideally a full-time student would be able to complete this in 2 semesters. And within this certificate, students actually get 2 industry credentials. They take their Energy Industry Fundamentals exam, which is required for employment at DTE. as well as their OSHA certification. And for each of the job roles, we have created hands-on courses, and these are the courses that are highlighted in blue. These are really giving students an idea of the physical aspects of the job. These courses have also been created. Our faculty's worked with subject matter experts from DTE to really understand what those basic work skills are. So those are in our system, ready for students to enroll. We're also creating job-specific certificates to go along with each of these job roles. And those certificates have also been created. We're leveraging existing courses as well as the new courses that have been created. And to go along with each of those hands-on modules, we are building out the physical lab. So we have been allocated $170,000 to spend on new equipment and $60,000 to make any necessary changes to the lab. So we're planning on allocating $42,500 to each of the job roles except for the electrical engineer job role, because we do already have an existing associate degree with existing labs and equipment.
So this lab that we're really looking at building for each one of these pathways into the skilled trades is also going to have equipment coming from DTE that we're going to be lending out. We have the 3D Internet Simulator. This is a simulated activity with transformers. This is a $90,000 investment that we're building in software that we were able to negotiate the license to be also used by Henry Ford College. So it was really exciting to, when I got that put through at the end of the year, to have Henry Ford on the license and also have CTE schools that we're partnered with. We have those on the bottom left there you see with those power poles, or it's the pole tops. Those are going to be portable. They're going to be on carts, so you can wheel them into a room, take them out, but they'll be at human height, so people will be able to see how you put the insulators on, how the transformers actually run. In the middle of the page is a simulator. We have a tabletop simulator that we purchased. We purchased actually 4 of them. We also have a much larger simulator that we purchased. So all of this equipment we're going to be building over the next couple of months to put it into a way to get it to Henry Ford to use, to move it out to also our CTE schools and also career fairs. We are building what we call a skilled trades career exploration event. And we're hoping that we partner with GDYT, which is a Grow Detroit Young Talent, to be able to be part of their fair. We're looking into our ways of how do we get the exposure of Henry Ford College, this pre-apprenticeship program called Power and Trades Pathway. And so we know we can do that through a lot of job fairs. And that's our intent, and it's to bring some of this equipment to give them that launch onto this program itself here at Henry Ford. So we're really excited about it. This is the only one like this in the state of Michigan. So as we set the stage, we're going to be setting the stage for it to multiply, if I may. I serve on the Michigan Energy Workforce Development Consortium. I head up education for the state of Michigan, and one of the things that we really want to do is make sure that we have standardized learning labs for energy across the state.
We do have one cohort of students piloting the program right now. They were all paid summer interns with DTE Energy. There's 14 of them. They were graduates from Cody High School. They are right now in their second semester of that Power and Trades Pathways core certificate program. They still have 3 credits to take, so we are targeting for a summer 2018 completion.
So here's the pipeline. So what do we have to do? We have to really market this. So when you look at this, we're going to pass this out to you. This is a brochure. This is just launching the level 1 certificate. And I'm pretty excited. When Henry Ford presented this to me, I was like, yes, that looks really good. So how do we want to do this? We have to do this in a way that's really being strategic, because we can't just do one class at a time. We just can't take DTE summer interns and say, oh, okay, you've got 40 interns and you're going to now have this opportunity to come to Henry Ford College. Because when you saw the tree, we need to have the tree filled with job-specific training activities. So that means we got to get enough people in the pipeline to be able to fill each one of those classes. So we're looking at wanting to have 100 people by next year, that's going to school in that core training so we can actually fill those classes. So what are we doing? We're building a website. You have also done your marketing materials. We've got a microsite that we're doing. We're building 7 videos. We're investing $80,000 of grant dollars that we received to build these videos to educate people on skilled trades and why they want to take and have that as a career path. That's going to be on a microsite. It'll be linked to your site. It'll be linked to our site. It'll be able to be a great way to connect people. The GI benefits, which is, the government issues that for the veterans. We're going to look at how we can get them connected with us. We're working with Michigan Works to have this program approved by their program so then they can work with us to, feed people in. So we have a lot of different pathways that we're working towards. Maybe if we just show you a brief glimpse, you want to do it, of the website. So this is under draft. Now realize that we have more to do to it, but this is on your website. This is actually what it's going to look like for the Power and Trades pathway. So this here is going to talk about the partnership we have. It's going to talk about the program. It's going to talk about how much a person can make in those particular jobs. So if you go through the site, it'll talk about what are those qualification needs and what can you make. When kids find out that they can make 6 digits, $100,000, yes, you can make $100,000 as a lineman. You can make that before you even get to journeyman level because of all the overtime. And so that's when the kids start saying, wow, this is a path that I really want to consider. And then we also promote college is important, right? You want to become a skilled trades, and you can always go later. If such as DTE, we pay for college. We pay for you all the way up for a master's. So it's not that we're taking anything away from you if you want to go that into that particular path. But we really want to have kids focus on skilled trades and do it here at Henry Ford College. But so the website will be well developed here over the next couple of weeks. Questions? Yes?
I get to go first.
Okay.
So this fits into the strategic plan
Yay!
because we want to increase our apprenticeship programs and that meet the needs of the community.
Yep.
So that fits. Now, when you talk about the tree,
Yes?
if a person finishes those courses, those basic courses, are they ready for employment yet, or do they have to go into the branches before they're really employable?
Is some job roles they could go into.
Okay.
So there's a entry-level job in gas that if they had that basic math, that basic 2 core semesters would be able to potentially be a pipeline. The reason I say that is that in our industry, for us, and many of our contractors, they have to take what they call a CAS test, which is the Edison Electric Institute assessments. And many companies require that assessment, and that's a lot of comprehensive reading, math, so diagramming, and a lot of people don't know that. And that's what we saw from Cody. They were not even near ready to be able to take that test. So even if they went to the door and applied, they would fail. And so we want to make sure that they've got that bridge.
Okay. Trustee Petlicoff?
Well, kind of along with what you're saying, if I understand this correctly, most of the students who are going through this are then going to go into an apprentice program
Yes,
after they leave here with a certificate,
that's the idea.
is the idea.
Yes.
Currently, I don't know how you get your apprentice people. I mean, if it requires this amount of effort right now from the college to get people prepared to go into the apprentice program, what are you doing without this program to attract? And will this then replace that opportunity for people out in the real world who maybe don't have all of this foundation?
So the foundation is really truly giving the at-risk or somebody else the opportunity to get higher up on the rung of the ladder to be able to be considered. When we post for an overhead line worker, we only go 3 days because it's over 1,000 applicants. And so what are we going to look at? We're going to look at experience. So who's been a tree trimmer? who has been a contractor and who's already been an apprentice for a period of time. So the person that's coming out of high school is not even going to have competition. They're not even going to get into the playing field. So what we're trying to say is take the credential that they're going to get from Henry Ford College, allow that to be a certain population of your hires. Maybe it's not the full, but give us that diverse population, because that's what we don't have. We have a lot of white males that might be overhead line workers, but we don't have a really diverse population, even with our contractors. So this is how we're trying to close that gap. So it's not taking anything away, it's actually giving us an opportunity to expose the middle school and the high school and prepare them for skilled trade type jobs.
I'm just trying to understand, because we're gonna have students coming and having to pay for these courses, and if you're still taking people off the street, so to speak, to apply for the apprentice programs after these students have put forth the time and
Right.
money invested in getting into the I want to make sure how we're selling this.
Right.
And that they, because there's going to be a lot of people say, hey, okay, then I'll spend a summer trimming trees and go apply, if
Right.
that's all it's going to take.
Right. No, that's a very good point. You know, can the person not have to go to college to be able to get into the skilled trades? There is a very, very small population that can do that, and they have done that. Those are the very entry-level points. If you want to go into a call center, you can get into an energy company through the call center, and then getting into a skilled trade is going to be much easier once you're indoors. But what we're trying to say is that there's going to be such an impact to our industry that we have to have a lot of different pipelines into skilled trades. Well, this isn't taken away. We do right now, the governor declares Careers and Energy Week in October. And that's when we go out and we educate students. We bring them to our property. We have them watch people climb poles. That's getting them that excitement. But now they have to pass that test, and the average person can't pass that CAS test. It's got a greater than 50% failure rate. So people need to understand, what do they need to do to prepare? And what this is doing is helping people prepare, not just students, it's going to be the adults too. Our goal is not just to be the high schools, it is to get the general population. But we're trying to build it and understand it first, so then it can run on its own. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I kind of will see how it develops as it moves, since it's just in its infancy.
So I will say this, we have talked about this in our Michigan Energy Workforce Development Consortium statewide. I have gone to Lansing and I have gone to Washington at the Center of Workforce Development National Conference and talked about this program. There's excitement in the nation about hearing about what we're building here. So if we can build this bridge, if I may, for people to get into a pre-apprenticeship, to get into an apprenticeship program, it's big. That's how we were able to get our Apprenticeship USA grant and our funds, because we wrote about this program and how we were going to take money here to help build it. So.
Trustee Thorpe.
You mentioned, though, that the grant only goes through, would you say, May of this year? So what do you think is going to happen after that? Is this program going to be sustainable for us?
That's really why we are exploring the idea of the one-year extension, specifically for those pipeline development activities, to continue one more year.
Would that be one cohort going all the way through?
In the fall, we are looking at adding 2 more cohorts.
So they're going to try to make a decision based on not too many people getting through to see if this was worth the money?
No.
Am I reading that right? Okay.
So the grant was awarded with the line items that were shown on the budget. And so it was a one-year grant. So they're going to, I think your foundation is going to petition to our foundation for an extension. They're going to take some of those dollars that are still there, that are available, and say we'd like to use those monies to have the administrator follow through for another year till we get through all the job specific and we get through all of the learning labs. I think that that's really wise. I've already called in and explained to them where I think it's a good idea that we have somebody who's permanently connected with us longer, because we're not going to be done by May. But if they say no, then we have to talk about who on your team is going to be able to work with me and my team in order to continue the work. We're almost there with the development. The learning labs still have to get constructed. I think we can still make all of that happen by May. But then it's the administration piece. It's getting that strategy so it's functioning on its own. And we're not quite there yet.
So that's what we're extending.
Yes, that would be the part that
That's
would be
exactly right. And one of the challenges is one that we set for ourselves. Actually, DTE set it for us, which was we were going to use this opportunity also to get out there and lift up an entire neighborhood. So we specifically chose at-risk students. So you have to understand that we've lost some of those students along the way, as you might expect, some of the attrition. But my dream is someday we'll all be driving down Southfield Highway, and there'll be this billboard that says classroom to career in under 1 year. And this is the kind of programming.
I like that.
This is the kind of programming that will really do that. So it does start off fairly small. We knew that we'd have a small cohort, but the whole idea is to build that pipeline so that as we continue to move students through that pipeline, we're also helping DTE. But they were very, very generous in all this. This is one thing I don't think that ever really came out too well. DTE is not doing this just to take care of what they know is going to be a situation where they have to face many, many retirements in the not too distant future. They actually want this to be a model that will be able to stand for the skilled trades in general in Greater Detroit.
Absolutely, totally. And it's not just, the money wasn't given to you to get back for us. Our foundation doesn't work that way. It really is truly for the industry. It is trying to help the less fortunate be able to find that career path. So our goal and intent is to help the skilled trades by building a program like this. That was our role and intent. Because we are meeting with our contractors here in 2 weeks to talk to them about this program in regards to the output of this that we want them to launch on and say that they want to hire from. You know, Local 17, you got to hire from the local. That won't happen, but anybody else, Local 223, contractors can hire directly from high schools. Now, what does Consumers do? Consumers actually has a program at Lansing Community College where it's their only pipeline. And so, but we don't have that here. So it'd be ideal if we did, but we don't.
Yeah, and that's what we're really doing. It's not that we're replicating, we're going to do it better.
Yep.
And when the weather gets good and our poles are in the ground, we can invite you all to a special session and you can shimmy up those poles.
You're not gonna Crisco them or
Do we
anything?
get six figures for doing
Your
it?
skirt or your dress.
Or put you in a bucket truck and have a bucket truck ride. Yeah.
Trustee Nasser?
This is so exciting. I'm so glad that we're able to have this at our college, and anything in the STEM is great, and having our students be able through middle school and high school to come through and do this is so important, because sometimes you think you want to do something and then you try it and you say, oh my God, I don't know what I was doing, and you completely shift paths. So giving our students the opportunity to try it and see if they like it is what I feel is very beneficial.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Trustee Link?
Well, I'm also very excited about it. I'd like to thank DTE Energy and your foundation. I have a couple of questions and a comment. I'm kind of confused because you keep using the word pipeline, and as an energy company, I'm confusing the pipeline with the other type of flow of people through a system. So I think you should probably come up with another word for a workforce path or something.
Okay.
So pipeline doesn't work for me. I keep struggling with, is this about pipelines or is this about people? So that's one thing, but
Okay.
These are unionized positions?
Not all.
Not all, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
but
And
most of them are.
I
Yes.
was really happy to hear the salary. Now, what is the starting salary for the students that get through the program?
That could vary. So,
Do you want me to pull that?
yeah, bring it back up. If you bring it back up, yeah, we can show you where they start. It's on the website, yes. So when they're interns with us, somewhere between $10 to $12, is their starting point. But when they come into a career path, so overhead line worker. So they're coming in as an apprentice, they're making $55,000 with no overtime. So when they get to a journeyman, they're making $72,000. But when you think about how many storms hit your area last year. Now, I know when I worked the March storm and I ran a pullout, we worked, days into overtime. So you can easily make, 6 digits. $150,000 can easily be made by a journeyman lineman. So then underground cable splicer is exactly the same thing, different union. A lot of the same training. We're building the program to be the same training. Electric field operations is a very short window of job-specific training. So although it's a little less, 41,000 starts, it's a great pipeline in, but you got to pass that CAS test. And many people can't do that. And people have 4-year degrees and they can't pass it. So gas operations is 37, but that's some of the entry points. Another great way to get in, but you don't have to pass the CAS test on that one, so that's a little bit easier pathway. That's why we picked that one first, to have this group come into. And then you have substation, that is a represented job. Takes a lot of training to go behind those walls of that substation, so that starts out at 56,000. And then construction is what you have already. So we said we wanted to build these labs, we wanted to build this program, not just for electric, gas utility, we wanted the energy industry, and so construction is a real good fit with that. So
I had a few other quick things. So maybe I'm just like still swimming with all of it. I wonder what kind of, I love that you're acknowledging a looming labor shortage, which I think a lot of people are not understanding. So I like that, and I like the fact that you're thinking ahead to train people. I like the fact that you're going to train people who need training. I didn't hear, and maybe it's just because I'm still swimming over the pipeline stuff, but so if this is a difficult area and it's going to connect maybe people who like to work outside but need theoretical or almost academic knowledge as well, what are you going to do to support people who are not, to make sure that the students from middle school are getting that kind of solid math and reading ability?
And that's one of the reasons why Henry Ford is the partner. Because what we've been able to do, for example, with some of the students that we had here, they weren't actually even ready, they weren't college ready. But we took what needed to happen in math and we began to contextualize that with the work that they were actually doing in the industry.
Yes.
And we're already ready-made, and I know Dr. Herbst is getting to know all of them as quickly as he can, but so many of the support services that we have, Inside Track, Detroit Promise, that we're really ready-made to provide the 360-degree type of support structure for these students. And so that's what we're really doing, is pulling together all those resources that we have and putting them at the disposal of these students, while treating them like a cohort so that they have a sense of being able to take advantage of all those resources.
So what is the percentage of students that don't get all the way through, and the ones that don't get through but that do accomplish some things, are they able to exit out into some other field that they can?
That's a really good question, and that's something that we're working on when we meet with the contractors.
So if they don't get to,
right,
overhead line worker, are they able to get into something else?
Tree trimming.
Yeah, tree trimming.
Tree trimming, which only requires, 9 days of a boot camp, but they have to have the physicalness. But that tree trimming is a key pipeline, or key.
Not a pipeline.
See, I know I can't. That's how we know in workforce development. But it's a key area of experience that overhead lines needs.
Okay.
We look at that. That could also be an opportunity.
I guess this returns to Trustee Boc's original question. Thank you.
Are we screening these students who are going in there, or are we just the volunteer system? Because I remember when we started with an early college program for that was community-wide, we really struggled with the first year of students that were not ready and didn't understand what they were getting into. So and once we understood that we needed to be more selective about the students that were entering into the program, are we doing the same thing?
Yes, so I think we have the same learning pains because we chose Cody High School, which is about the most at-risk population that you can get. We were disheartened but not surprised that we lost about half of those students. And I have to say, because Deborah and I were there on the very first day when we welcomed in the 36 men and women, mostly, almost all African American, a few maybe Latino students that were there. They were excited, we were excited, and they had two things to do by the end of that day. They had to take a math test, and I hate to be graphic, but they had to pee in a cup, and we lost people right there,
Yeah.
right there,
I
because
hear
they
that
couldn't
about
pass
most
the
of
drug
skilled
test.
trades
But that's the
can't pass the drug
reality, and
test.
that was the group that we wanted to test for. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't think it's the intention, at least the way that DTE was thinking all along, that we would screen people. But that once we got the infrastructure, which is the curriculum, we had to design the curriculum
Yes.
backwards from what the people were going to do, which is all the getting together of the subject matter expertise together with the faculty and our staff. That's all the work that we had to do this year. Now we can really start to open this up to many more students, and I think that we'll see the program really thrive.
And I'd like to just add one other thing. The one other key element that we know that's critically important is that these students have mentors. So with our internship program at DTE, we are going to be having 80 students come through this year, 40 skilled trades, 40 office and professional. All 80 are going to have a mentor assigned to them. We are also going to get mentors. We're going to talk to the contractors to give mentors to these students. So if we can figure out the right model for mentors to be mentoring the kids that are in the skilled trades, that'll set us up for greater success. And then that will broaden that. Not something that DTE will own, but we'll maybe make it somehow a community with our other community partners. We have a lot of wraparound services. We have a lot of other organizations that probably would want to step up and say, hey, we would like to bring our resources to the table to be mentors. So we want to try to figure out that model, and we're going to do that here during this next semester. So anyway, any other questions?
Okay, no, thank you very, very much for this presentation, and
You're
good
welcome.
luck.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Oh, it sure does. Next item, please.
The third and last report, 2018 Liberal Arts Network for Development, LAND Conference. Vice President Nealon.
Well, this is an opportunity to see some phenomenal creative work on the part of our students, and I'm going to ask Professor Steve Glazer to pop up and and Dr. Kim. So please pop up here. The Liberal Arts Network for Development is a statewide consortium where folks in the liberal arts or the arts and sciences really have an opportunity to come together and share their trade secrets on how things are working in the 28 community colleges. But it also creates opportunities for young scholars, for young writers, for young artists of all sorts to be able to compete and share some of their creative work. And Henry Ford College walked away hands down as the school with the most prizes. So we just wanted to share some of that work with you tonight.
Good.
Let's see if I can find where our PowerPoint is, yeah. Okay. Liberal, or LAND stands for Liberal Arts Network for Development, and it
Use
provides...
the mic,
Okay.
please.
Well, first of all, greetings,
Steve.
President Sichikowski and Board of Trustees. I'm Steve Glazer, my, steering committee partner from Henry Ford College, Peter Kim. The Liberal Art, or LAND, is a statewide conference. It's put together to promote the liberal arts within Michigan at community college level. And the conference this year actually takes place this week. Wednesday through Friday in Muskegon, Michigan. And the theme for this year's conference is Pathways. And we'll be very well represented at the conference with students